Today is June 23rd at 9 a.m. I'm calling the committee on the Parks and Culture and Community session. I'm Sheldon Wassman, the chair. Before we get the first order of business, we have to thank Supervisor Taylor for bringing in the breakfast treats this morning, and we have a list, my LA has a list of who's up next. I think we have that all filled up, so for the rest of the, at least this current year and a half. Looking at Jenny in the back, we got to make sure it's all taken care of. But the next order of business is really the call of the roll. So if we'd like to call the roll, and it doesn't look like Miss Kelsey is here today. If you'd like to introduce yourself to everyone.
Committee Coordinator Ethan Masaryk, filling in for Clerk Nean today. On the call of the roll, Supervisors O'Connor.
Present.
Taylor. Here. Martin.
Is she there? I don't see her there. Okay, excused for now.
Cogs Jones.
Where's Cox Jones? Ooh, excused for now.
Martinez.
Here.
Ekblad.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
There are 5 members present, 2 appearing virtually. We have a quorum.
All right. The first item is Resolution 1. Ethan, if you'd like to announce the item, and we'll take it up.
Item 1, a resolution by Supervisor Shea authorizing a $1,126,580 appropriation transfer from Agency 194-1945, appropriation for contingencies to Capital Improvement Project WP 083801, Sheridan Park Bluff Stability for Design and Permitting Expenses. This item was referred to the Committee on Finance, and at their meeting on June 18th, 2026, it was recommended for adoption by a vote of 5-1, and it is referred to the Parks Committee today for informational purposes only per Section 59.60 Sub 8 Wisconsin State Statutes.
Great. Mr. First Vice Chair, Supervisor Shea, if you'd like to present the item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say good morning to all my fellow supervisors. Unfortunately, I don't believe this meeting will rival the Jonas Bobby Portis trade in the news cycle. Nonetheless, this is very, very important. I want to thank the chairman for having the courtesy to put this first in the agenda. I come before you today with a resolution asking for $1.1 million for appropriation for capital improvement project, Sheridan Park Bluff Stability for Design and Permitting Expenses. The Lake Michigan Bluffs Repair Project evaluated Milwaukee's coastline and assigned the grade of F to multiple sections of the Sheridan Park Bluff. In April, last month, we had yet another major storm, and not one but 2 sections of the bluff gave way, sliding down to Lake Michigan. Now, there are multiple sections that have been rated F, more than just the 2 who suffered a major loss. This resolution is to ask for money for a study to go to FEMA to ask for BRICS grant money, approximately 20 million plus, to repair these bluffs. This is United City of Cudahy. People from both ends of the political spectrum are behind this, and we want to save Sheridan Park. We don't want to literally see it go downhill. So, I sit before you asking you to consider this resolution.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Shea. Other people who would like to speak on it? Supervisors, any supervisors have specific comments for Supervisor Shea? Questions? I want to recognize Supervisor Martin, who is here, so I want to make sure attendance is counted. I don't see any of my other colleagues on the committee signing up yet, but any other questions for Supervisor Shea?
Mr. Chair, I just have a quick comment. I appreciate him bringing this forward. I'll just note that it did pass finance by all but one vote, with all but one vote in favor. I do think one of the reasons this study is important is that it makes this project, and I'll defer to Supervisor Shea if this is correct, and to park staff. I believe this allows the project to be shovel ready when the FEMA funding does come through. So it's a necessary first step.
It is a necessary prerequisite, yes.
Sounds good. All right, seeing and hearing no other comments, I have two people who are registered but not speaking, and both are for it. It's Barry and Chris Svoboda. I don't know if they're related at all.
They are.
They are husband, wife, or brother, sister? Okay, husband, all right. Welcome, we have your comments registered. This is only information only, and it looks like, was it unanimous or no? I wouldn't know. Oh, okay, there was an objection to it on finance, but otherwise, thank you very much. I don't think we have anything else to talk about. We'll be taking this up on Thursday. Thank you very much, Supervisor Shea. Next item, Mr. Ethan.
Item 2, from the President and Chief Executive Officer, Milwaukee Public Museum, providing an informational report regarding financial statements. This file was also considered by the Committee on Finance, and at their meeting of June 18th, 2026, it was recommended to be received and placed on file by a vote of 5-0. It is before your committee today for informational purposes only unless otherwise directed.
Welcome, Dr. Zensky. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your full title.
Good morning, Chairman Wasserman and committee members. I am Ellen Sensky, President of the Milwaukee Public Museum, and my report covers the activities of the museum since we last reported, which was in March. So attendance continues to track ahead of projections. We attribute this to a few things. One, we are in the final year of the museum being open, and we know that many visitors are coming in either for their final visits or for their many final visits. We're also doing programming that's focused on some of our favorite exhibits. For instance, we had in the streets of Old Milwaukee, it was bustling on May 2nd when we had a Streets Alive, where our docents dress up in period wear and then share stories about life and work in Milwaukee at the turn of the 20th century. We had almost 5,000 people who came on that day. As part of our Greatest Hits celebration, we hosted a journey to the tropics from May 7th to June 6th, which was for our Rainforest and Butterflies Greatest Hits. This was the third of our 5 in the Greatest Hits series of exhibit celebrations for 2026. So during this month-long tribute to 2 of Milwaukee's innovative and immersive exhibits, visitors were able to go on guided tours, stop by interactive stations, learn about biodiversity from the tropics, and test their trivia and knowledge about everything from pollinators to gorillas and primates, and get up close with some of our live critters, the insects from the tropics. On April 17th, we hosted our last Inside Out in the building. This is an evening, gave attendees the opportunity to learn from museum staff, researchers, students, and volunteers about what goes on behind the scenes in the museum. This year, attendees enjoyed 25 different presentations throughout the museum, and we had nearly 1,400 people who attended, despite the fact that we actually had a tornado warning, and the alarm sound in the museum, and we kept everybody safe, no tornadoes. Our Giving Day was on March 12th, and it was a tremendous success. We raised a total of about $645,000 from 445 donors in that one day. And these funds, of course, help the museum to operate, especially in the current building. We also had MPM's final gala in the museum on May 16th. And this gala celebrated the building's the museum's rich history, and how it's led us to this exciting new chapter. I always tell you what's going on with the building just to keep you up to speed on the things that we're dealing with in the building. And last time we met, I told you about the passenger elevator was out. It was actually out for a full 2 months. And unfortunately, in those 2 months, on our busy days, our visitors experienced wait times of up to 30 minutes in order to get up to the floors. So during this time, too, we had an escalator out for 1 week because of a hot handrail, so we had to take it out of service and replace the parts. In addition, the 38-year-old 350-ton chiller is at its end of life. Next week, they are replacing the bearings in this to keep it limping along until we can vacate the building. In terms of our budget, for the 7-month period that ended in March, our consolidated operating revenue was $10.6 million and expenditures were $8.1 million, giving us a consolidated operating surplus of $2.5 million. In non-operating activity, the endowment's unrestricted investments had an investment gain of about $635,000. So, new museum project. Exhibit fabrication continues. As I've told you before, there are 5 exhibit fabricator companies that from around the country that are hard at work creating the new exhibits that will be installed in the museum. But one exciting progress note is that some of the work on exhibits is actually started in June in the building. So they're starting the construction of some rock walls and scenic elements in the building, even as we're completing the construction of it. Labels are in their final review, and this has been a monumental task. You know, creating labels for 5 floors of exhibits is an amazing and a monumental amount of work to do. Though there are, hundreds of labels and thousands of graphics and photographs that we've had to gather, and they're in the final push to get those done. Media elements are also underway. This includes original footage from cultures from around the world. So we've got crews out there across the world actually gathering new footage for the new museum. New interactives are underway, lighting and sounds, all those things bring these exhibits to life. And something that people often don't think of, but every one of those thousands of collection items that will be on display needs a mount to secure it, to make sure that it's kept safe. And those mounts, we've just started to produce those mounts. Construction continues to move along on track. One of the interesting things that's happened is the freight elevator and the passenger elevators have been installed. We are, the last 2 elevators in the parking garage are now being installed. These are all generative elevators, so when they move down, they are generating electricity for the museum. So it's exciting to have those kinds of elevators in the museum. The light well on the 4th floor is already shaped. This is, if you recall, the building is designed to reflect the geology of this state and those cliffs out to the west of Madison. And the light well is to reflect those crevices in those cliffs. So the 4th floor has already been framed in, drywalled, and painted. And they're now working on the 3rd floor. And in the report, I had shared some pictures of that light well under progress. The monumental staircase has been hung. Remember, it is a hanging staircase. It has been hung, and now it's being framed in, and soon it will be clad in wood from Menominee Tribal Enterprises. So we're working with the Menominee tribe to provide the wood that will frame and provide the railings for that. And we continue to exceed our goal for on-site workforce residing in the museum, residing in Milwaukee County. Our goal was 50%, and we are nearly at 59% right now. The collections staff continue to make progress on packing and moving. We're winding down on the barcoding and now in full force on packing. We have hired an additional 32 staff in order to help us manage that. And we've started to move collections to offsite storage. I also shared pictures of that offsite storage for you so that you can see how amazing the space looks, especially when compared with what we're dealing with in the current building. And then finally, the disposition process. So as reported in March, MPM and the county have established a transparent and orderly process for disposition of surplus property through a tiered priority program. And I want to emphasize surplus property. This is not collections. Collections are going with us. So the tentative plan for touring priority groups through the museum is as follows. We're going to do them on the first and third Tuesdays at 11 and 1 p.m. from August through December. This will be by appointment so that we make sure that we've got the right number of people on our staff to do these tours. So we will be reaching out to the different groups. The tentative dates for the tours are we're starting with Milwaukee County, and that includes the affiliated museums with Milwaukee County, like Milwaukee County Historical, the Domes, the Villa Terrace. This includes all of them. As part of the first round going August through December, then other museums and tribes from September to December, then nonprofits and educational institutions from October to December, and then we will put it out to exhibit companies after that. And the final, what is left, will be by public auction. And we are still working through all the details of that. But as those details become more clear, we will certainly keep you informed. So I'm happy to answer any questions the supervisors have.
For my colleagues, questions? Supervisor Martinez has his hand up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the report, Dr. Sensky. I have to say, usually I'm not one to be disappointed, but I was recently disappointed because I hosted with the League of Women Voters an event in my district about the Latino artifacts for Latino history in the new museum, and there really wasn't much at all to speak of from the presentation that we had. And after that meeting, I was informed that all future presentations about what's going on with Latino history in the museum had been canceled because there's really nothing to speak of. But the one silver lining there I heard is that the exhibits can grow, the exhibits can change. And I am really hoping that there's something to show the history of Latinos in Milwaukee, because, I mean, there's been times where I have myself pushed and said I really would like to figure something out where we can have our own museum, right, of the history of Latinos in Milwaukee. But the Milwaukee Public Museum is where everybody in the city goes, and I just found it very disappointing that there's really not much about the history of Latinos in Milwaukee. So is there something that's going to be planned for the future or something that we can work on in that respect?
So the exhibits are meant to change through time, and so we can certainly work with you on that. I know that there are a lot of cultures in the community that we need to address, and so we're trying to do this. And so there's a spattering of every one of them as we open. But the other side of it is that a lot of the work that we do is through our programming too. And so we can bring those stories out through the programming.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I really hope that that programming changes and that we're able to present something to like a really big population of this city. So, yeah, I'd like to work on that in the future with all of you. So, thank you.
Of course, of course.
Thank you, Supervisor Martinez. Other questions from community members? Well, I guess my first question is, how is the fundraising going? I heard, is there a new number of how much you've raised at this point? And
As we've said in the past, we'll give that number when we are ready, which is after the big giving season at the end of the year. So fundraising's coming along good. So the building's going up. There's no stopping in the process. So it's coming along.
have we had more multi-million, you don't have to say names, but have we had some more million-dollar donators?
We have not had a $1 million gift since March.
Okay. I hope this is a sales pitch to anybody who's listening. Please give $1 million to the Milwaukee Public Museum. So I want to help you on that. Do you see, I'm like looking at the numbers that you guys, you raised, how much money did the gala raise, by the way?
I think the gala raised, our final bills and everything are we're still working on them. Some bills don't come in. But I think it was about, the net, I think it was about 600,000.
That's fantastic. And then you raised so much on your giving day?
Yep.
I'm like looking at these different things. Another question about these new elevators, we've had such a problem, you've had such a huge problem with these elevators of the past. How will the elevators that are being installed in the new museum be protected against future elevator crises in the future?
Well, I think the reason why the elevators are failing now is because they're 65-year-old or 70-year-old elevators. So in general, your elevators don't last that long and you change them out. So that would be the goal in the new, is that we are able to change the elevators out. And because we do keep them maintained. It's just they're old. In fact, the reason why things take so long to repair is because you can't buy the parts anymore. They have to be manufactured because they're such old elevators.
Is there any way to prevent, I don't know anything about big buildings with elevators, and it's a lack of knowledge in my background, but is there any way to prevent what you've had so far with the elevators you're purchasing? Do they have longer, is the manufacturers around longer? Are the parts easier to fabricate to replace these in the future? Or will we have to wholly swap out elevators 50 years from now on this new museum?
Well, it won't be new 50 years from now, and it probably, that we will plan for that. There's obsolescence, and so you plan for that.
I just want to make sure. Also, I know the old museum is shutting down on January 3rd of 2027. When is the new museum going to open?
We are looking at the second quarter. We still haven't defined specifically when that is.
So there will be a specific period of time that there will be no public museum in Milwaukee at that time that's open?
Correct.
For at least a couple months to
Correct.
2 months, all right. Are you having is there going to be are you planning a big special celebration at the very end, like a last day type of thing?
We, of course, are talking about that and hoping that we will have a month of fun activities as we close in on the end.
Yeah, I would hope. I think that you're going to have a lot of people who might want to just be there on the, I don't think, are you going to be open on January 1st, or is it going to be closed for New Year's Day usually?
We're always open January 1st.
I think it would be very special. I think those people to be able to say that they were there and through 2027, you might have a special, a crowd of people might take special significance out of that. So just want some big party. Other than that, any other committee members, questions, concerns, problems? Thank you very much for your presentation. We're always looking for big dollar amounts, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Next item up, Mr. Ethan.
Item 3, a resolution by Supervisors Wasserman, Martin, Vincent, Shea, Logston, and Capriolo, updating the composition and quorum standard of the Milwaukee County Cultural, Artistic, and Musical Programming Advisory Council, CAMPAC.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ethan. Since I am the author, I want to pass the gavel over to my vice chair, who is now the chair.
Thank you, Chair. Who will be presenting on this item?
I will be presenting.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm Sheldon Wasserman, the chair of the Parks and Culture Committee, but I'm also the author of this specific resolution that changes CAMPAC, and it changes it in a very specific way. We're going to have, since CAMPAC has been under the Parks and Culture Committee, I think it's important the chair or their designated representative be part of the committee, so that's one change that my resolution has. And the second thing is the definition of basically setting up quorum. CAMPAC has unfortunately had problems with attendance, and because of the attendance issues, they have not been able to get quorum. And if they haven't get quorum, they can't fulfill the needs of their, they can't do the job that they were entitled, that they were assigned to, about who would receive money and who wouldn't receive money. So then it would come back to, at the time, the park staff, and now it's going to be the administration. It creates a furor and a problem. So working with the administration and working with CAMPAC and the board chair of CAMPAC, it was thought that if we could lower the quorum requirements, change what quorum is, it would make the committee function more efficiently, and we could get business done when it's needed to be done. So that's what my resolution does, and I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from committee members? Are there any questions or comments from other board members in attendance? Any questions or comments from the public? And what is the desire of the committee?
I'd like to make a motion, yeah, I'm sitting on the other side now. I'd like to make a motion to advance my CAMPAC resolution. File number 26517.
Excellent, thank you. Coordinator, would you please call the roll?
On the motion by Supervisor Wasserman that item number 3 be recommended for adoption, Supervisors O'Connor, Supervisor Wasserman.
Aye.
Taylor? Aye. Martin?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Madam Chairwoman?
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 noes, the motion prevails.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vice Chair. You ran the meeting very, very well. With that, Mr. Ethan, if you'd like to call the next item.
Item 4, from the Director, Economic Development, Department of Administrative Services, providing an informational report on the Charles Allis Art Museum and Charles Allis Art Museum, Inc. 2025 Annual Report. This item is informational only unless otherwise directed by the committee.
Thank you very much. Welcome. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Carly Neal, the Interim Executive Director at Charles Allis Art Museum.
Thank you, Chairman, Supervisors. Erica Goblet, Project Manager with Department of Administrative Services, Economic Development.
Welcome.
It is a great moment to sit here today before you with this informational report to tell you that we successfully transferred the Charles Allis Art Museum on April 17th. And then we're also reporting on the Charles Allis Art Museum Annual Report and an update on the museum's continued operations and organizational progress. As you know, it's been a long road. This all started in 2024, and it's taken some time, but we are here today to report on the successful transfer. And we have a PowerPoint if it pleases the committee.
Absolutely. I think at this time, I'd like to also have you introduce the third member. I think I know who she is, but if you'd like to introduce yourself and also your title.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Marquela Ellison, Board Chair of the Charles Allis Art Museum. Happy to see you all.
Right. And why don't you just pull up a chair to the front, too? You don't have to be separated from everybody else of your group. And we're ready for that power projection, power slide.
Do you mind? Is it okay if I say a couple words before you present?
Oh,
Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll keep it brief. I know I've emailed you guys a lot. We've already celebrated, of course, so happy to be in front of you guys today with good news. So just brief updates that we're continuing to move forward. We've successfully moved from 5 board members to now 13, including the wonderful County Supervisor Ann O'Connor joining our board. So increases in leadership. We are very close to naming our executive director. We had over 43 applicants, amazing applicants, and working through that process. So hoping to have even more good news coming in. And our endowments tied to the Villa Terrace are in the middle of being liquidated and transferred over. So things are going well on all 4 fronts for the Charles Alice and for preserving our future. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. It's been a very fun 2 years of figuring this out and getting to where we are. So just want to say I appreciate Erica, Cecilia, the staff at the museum, and of course, all the supervisors who've kind of dealt with us throughout this process to get to where we are today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm walking you through a little bit of our 2025 annual report. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got a weird thing. There we go. Go to the next one. So current staff and leadership, 2025, we brought on executive director, interim executive director, Dr. Bill Wood, UWM anthropology and museum studies professor. He took sabbatical to work at the museum and kind of steer the ship in the right direction at the end of 2025. I was brought on as the curator of public programs and membership at the end of 2025 and stepped into Bill's position as the interim director in February of this year. Jade Hess serves as our associate curator of collections and intellectual property. Grace Dugan serves as our public programs assistant. Elliot Hess is our associate facilities manager, and we have 2 wonderful guest services staff, Danny and Emirates. This board director list is our current list, minus the additions that we've had within the last couple of weeks. So Mark Quayla is our board chair. Carl Miller is our vice chair. Kevin Smith serves as our secretary. Thomas Friend is our treasurer. Jess Annabelle, Troy Giles, Tiana Scott, Annie Warner, and Ben Williams are all board members. So our priorities at the Charles Alice Art Museum, first and foremost, are to offer equitable access to art and arts education, arts programming. We've been really focused on our community partnerships, especially in 2025. By the end of 2025, really building our partnerships and relationships within Milwaukee's creative community. And we really seek to serve as a gathering place, also in a space culture where we're third spaces are few and far between. We really want to offer a space for community to just come and collect. So these are our income categories. Had some good fundraising, foundation grant support, some county support. We had a lot of individual contributions. Remainder of our income came from earned income, including store sales, admission, event tickets. We run a bar during our special events, some bar sales income. So heavily philanthropic contributions, but definitely good building 2025, rebuilding our earned income revenue streams as well. This is our expense report. Payroll, definitely top of the list. Otherwise, pretty well split between a couple other categories, just kind of regular operations. Lots of building maintenance with a museum of our scale and age. Professional services, utilities, general program costs, exhibition costs, et cetera. So membership and attendance, we did really well throughout the year. That chart reflects attendance. Pink is in programs and event admissions, and then we had really consistent museum visitation throughout the year. We served a total of 1,500 individuals, had 73 active museum members. That number continues to rise as our membership program gains traction, and program and event attendance Had some really good programs that brought in a lot of different people. We did offered free events like Gallery Night and Doors Open Milwaukee that brought in really great crowds. Exhibitions, we had a very active exhibitions calendar throughout 2025 with over five new exhibitions, 5 distinct exhibitions, serving a lot of local artists, representing local artists, bringing in a pretty wide variety of audiences. And a couple other highlights. Public programs. Arts at 1801 is one of our cornerstone programs to serve Milwaukee Public School, mostly Milwaukee Public School students. So we served over 100 students through Arts at 1801 last year. This year that number's almost tripled. So artist talks, field trips, it's really good ways to engage and bring arts education to some populations who wouldn't otherwise have these opportunities. Thank you. And any questions?
Supervisor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I think you guys should be proud of yourselves from where you maybe were 2 years ago. It's definitely been probably a stressful road and a long road at times, and I know at times I probably was a little hard on you, but I think you guys should be proud of where you're at and kind of what you have moving forward. I see that you had a net profit of about $25,000 in 2025. We're about halfway through the year. Where you guys headed this year, and what type of like nest egg do you have set off to the side? Because 25 grand from zero is not very much. But you guys, where are you guys sitting like as a balance sheet?
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. We will be reporting our income numbers later next month. They're due at the end of July, I think. So we'll have official numbers, but we're on really great track for meeting our 2026 goals already. And our endowment, so we now have 2 endowments. Mark Lilly mentioned the liquidation of the Villa Terrace endowment that's headed for Villa Terrace. So Charles Ellis Endowment, we had a Charles Ellis Endowment, and then when we acquired our building from the county, we got the Sarah Ball Ellis Endowment. So both of those endowments are housed at Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and can offer some consistent revenue streams. So we look forward to growing those, but they're in a good spot right now.
Yes, we're already on task to meet the goals with the county for our generated revenue. Rentals are up, event sales are up, bar sales are up. We also work with One Grove Strategies, so the board has been fully trained on fundraising. So where we're working our network, we've grown our membership base. Of course, these numbers are from 2025, so kind of the beginning of our change. But everything has expanded. What are the numbers this right now for membership? Is it 150? Yeah. 150, so it's doubled already. So I would say that we're doing maybe 50% better already than we were last year when we had just kind of started planting seeds. So on track to meet those goals. We're moving forward with some of the maintenance work that we're doing. So that, of course, will be reimbursed, but we confidently have the funds in-house to move forward with that work. So things are going very well.
And what is the county's obligations still remaining?
We have operational, so it was $250,000 in capital this year and $250,000 capital in 2027. And then the operational dollars are go till 2028. I don't have the amounts offhand, but I can tell you what it is. And they have to have those, the goal they're talking about is reporting that they reach their financial goals at the end of July so that we know to budget for the operational dollars for 27. And then the same thing will happen in 27.
Got it. Okay.
And just to pitch, so I've been very much enjoying taking my family to the Alice. They have a lot of different activities going on that appeal to, I've taken friends and family from small children to teenagers, which it's hard to find things that teenagers enjoy, and they have really enjoyed the programming. The membership's very reasonable, and what they're doing with the collection in showing, like, each time I go, there's something different. There's a new art exhibit. They have new pieces of the collection out. They have such a small but dynamic staff. It really is amazing. So if you haven't checked out their programming, I highly recommend it. There's something for everyone, and become a member. The membership price is very reasonable, and they're making it accessible to the community. It really is just impressive. I'm so amazed at what they've done in the last year.
Yeah, and then I'll also plug, we have an opening this Thursday, so everybody coming out for our exhibition opening Thursday with John Fleischner, who's a MPS teacher, who's a really talented printmaker, activist, really phenomenal show that's going to be very much in conversation with workers' rights and the Alice family specifically, so it'll be a good one.
Thank you.
Other committee members? Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chair. I would just be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the hard work that's taken place and how I think it's been a really excellent model of transitioning these cultural institutions in a fabulous, public-private partnership. So kudos to everyone who has believed in this, including folks from our Office of Economic Development who have been really committed to seeing successful handoff. So well done, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor O'Connor. Other members of the committee? All right. Other supervisors? I also would like to make comments, just say congratulations on the work you've done. How long, Carly, how long is your interim CEO position going to last for, or when are you going to make
Until somebody else comes in. Yeah,
Simple as that.
I came in in February, and yeah, it sounds like the search is getting there. So I'll step back into my public programs position at that point.
So you're staying with the museum afterwards?
Stay with museum and help transition the next leadership in.
Can you explore the issue is always is the parking issue, and you have this relationship now with CVS and their parking lot. Are you paying them, or how did you create that relationship between them?
It's been a long-standing relationship. I don't know exactly how it came about. Probably predates you too, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we reached out, and because we're a nonprofit, they were just willing to give us the space. So this has been a long-standing relationship for, I think, at least 4 years. Of course, there are a couple other private parking lots, so we're still looking at different ways to work on it. But, the city is growing. So if you come to events, I have some messaging about either using rideshare or public service. There is street parking. And just being mindful of some of the other competing spaces and making sure we're not hosting a show at the same time. The Vivarium is, of course. But yeah, CVS gives us permission to use the back half of their parking lot. So we have designated spaces, and we provide permits. People can pick them up, or they can print ahead of time. We send that out with every event that we have.
Yeah, I think it's just a great relationship there. I also have to say, comment on when Erica Goblet is that enthusiastic about a project, what a major positive for your organization. So good job. Thank you very much. Any further comments? Seeing none, if we'd like to announce item number 5, Ethan.
Item 5, action report requesting authorization to execute long-term leases with Easter Seals Southeast Wisconsin for Willoway Grant and Underwood facilities. This file was also referred to the Committee on Health Equity, Human Needs, and Strategic Planning. At their meeting of June 11th, 2026, it was recommended for adoption by a vote of 5-0. It was also referred to the Committee on Finance. At their meeting on June 18th, 2026, it was recommended for adoption by a vote of 7-0, and it's referred to your committee today for action as well.
Thank you very much. If you'd like to introduce yourselves and let's have another presentation.
Good morning, Chair and Supervisors. I'm Celia Benton, Director of Economic Development and Real Estate Services.
Rami Peltz, Leasing Manager, Economic Development and Real Estate Services. With your permission, I would like to present a PowerPoint.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
While Mr. Peltz pulls that up, I just want to give some context to why we're here today. As you know very well, DAS has been working closely with the Department of Health and Human Services the Department of Parks to come up with creative solutions, knowing that we have significant deferred maintenance issues in our parks, knowing that we have our fiscal cliff, but there is such a strong desire to continue to see strong community programming. And so we've been trying to come up with creative ways that allow for both to still happen. And I'm very pleased that Mr. Peltz is able to share, one such, we think, creative solution that helps meet both of those goals for the county.
Long-term lease agreements with Easter Seals essentially accomplishes 4 things. Number 1, it significantly reduces future county operating capital obligations for these 2 facilities. 2, it preserves and expands inclusive recreation and respite programming. And number 3, it maintains facilities as mission-serving assets within Milwaukee County Parks. And number 4, it continues to align county's strategic goals around fiscal health and sustainability. This proposal is consistent with the county's broader facilities strategy. Across departments, we continue to look for ways to reduce deferred maintenance liabilities and align facility stewardship with our core service priorities. Rather than a county continuing to own every operating responsibility, we are leveraging partnerships with trusted nonprofit organizations to preserve valued services while improving long-term fiscal sustainability. This slide highlights the critical juncture we are in as we work to reconcile an unsustainable fiscal trajectory while balancing the needs of our residents with disabilities. Over the next 5 years, the Willoway facilities are projected to require approximately $4.5 million in capital investment, which excludes splash pads and playgrounds. In addition, annual operating costs have averaged approximately $113,000. Under this proposed lease, Easter Seals would assume responsibility for utilities, maintenance, operations, and capital improvements. As a result, Milwaukee County's ongoing financial exposure would be significantly reduced. Some major points in the lease terms. The lease start date is going to be January 1st, 2027, with an initial term of 10 years. The renewal options are 2 additional 5-year renewal periods. The rent is $1 annually, and Easter Seals would be responsible for all utilities, maintenance, capital improvements. In addition, we're requesting Easter Seals to provide a $50,000 maintenance and replacement reserve, and the county has termination rights if we need to terminate. A little background on Easter Seals. Easter Seals has partnered with Milwaukee County's Office for Persons and Disabilities for more than a decade and already provides programming at these facilities. Together, we have served children, adults, seniors, caregivers, and individuals with disabilities through camps, respite services, life skill programs, and inclusive recreation opportunities. Easter Seals possesses the staffing, operational infrastructure, and financial capacity necessary to manage complex facilities and deliver year-round programming. This proposal builds upon that long-standing relationship and allows programming to continue and grow. Accordingly, DAS, Parks, and DHHS respectively request authorization to execute long-term lease agreements with Easter Seals Southeast Wisconsin. We believe this partnership allows Milwaukee County to accomplish 2 important objectives: preserve and expand a value community service while placing the county on a more financial, sustainable path. At this time, more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Members of the committee? I think Supervisor Martin had her hand up first. So, Supervisor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a question. I would like to move recommendation for adoption.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. We have a motion now for adoption. Supervisor Eckblat has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is that echo just me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I did have just a quick comment and then a question. The Easter Seals program used to run out of Holler Park, and I can tell you just the hunger in the community down there for this programming. It's great that there is a fiscally sustainable way to continue it on some level. I'm curious, I'm not finding fault, but I'm curious why an agreement like this wasn't reached around Holler Park Pool. I'm guessing the cost was more than $4.5 million, but that's just a guess. Thank you.
Chair and supervisors, so we have Director Formanak of Disability Services that I think can answer that question.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair, Supervisors, and guests. Yes, that answer is correct. We did look into that. It did come down to costs and to fixing the pool for some issues with the pool.
I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of that answer. Did you specify the specific cost down at Holler that was looked at?
No, we didn't even get to that cost point. We met down there, took a tour, and we were just told that it was going to be too much to fix the pool and to even do construction, and that was where it ended. Easter Seals didn't want to move forward with that.
Thank you very much for that context. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Other members of the committee? Other questions? We have a motion now on the floor from Supervisor Martin for approval. I think the next job is to call the roll on this.
On the motion by Supervisor Martin that item number 5 be recommended for adoption, Supervisors O'Connor,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 noes, the motion prevails.
All right, last item, besides the most important item for some people is e-comments, item number 7, but right now we'll do item number 6.
Item 6, from the Executive Director of Parks providing an informational report on the Domes Reimagined project financials. This item was also considered by the Committee on Finance, and at their meeting of June 18th, 2026, it was recommended to be received and placed on file by a vote of 7-0, and it is referred to your committee today for informational purposes only unless otherwise directed.
Welcome, if you'd like to both introduce yourselves.
Absolutely. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Guy Smith, Executive Director from Milwaukee County Parks, and I'm joined by...
Good morning. I'm Krista Beal-Diefenbach, CEO of Milwaukee Domes Alliance.
So we're here today to provide some positive updates. We were actually at Finance last week, and Chris is going to share a PowerPoint, but we're definitely projected in a great direction here. Moving forward, we have a great partner with the Milwaukee Domes Alliance, and Chris is going to show you some of the great donor updates for you today.
We're sitting here with bated breath to hear that amount. Just point blank, cutting through the tension. I know Finance wanted to hear it, but I was very happy that you delayed it till the Parks Committee. So I just have to tell you.
Finance?
Yeah, but they were supposed to tell you the whole amount, and she delayed it. She said she wasn't going to tell you everything, and she said she's saving it for here. So exactly, Parks Committee.
All right, maybe. Okay. If it pleases the committee, I would like to share a PowerPoint presentation.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. And yes, as you mentioned, Chairman, we did present at last week's Finance Committee meeting, and that was based on the March 31st, 2026 report that we had submitted to Milwaukee County. But today's report does include some really exciting updates about the Domes Reimagined project. So thank you so much for your time today and for walking through this exciting slide deck with us. So just a couple reminders. This is the full capital stack for the Domes Reimagined project. It includes the $30 million commitment from Milwaukee County, which has been absolutely instrumental in allowing us to make the progress that we have made. We also have a $35 million private philanthropy goal. We have tax credit financing over $30 million, and then some other funding from the state and some national and federal funders. And as you also might remember, we have broken this project into 3 distinct phases that will include, if you can easily see them as attached to each of the 3 domes. So phase 1A is the show dome, phase 1B is the desert dome, phase 1C is the tropical dome. So for the very initial phase, Phase 1A, our capital stack is $51.6 million, and you see it broken down there in $12.9 million from the county, $17.1 million in private philanthropy, $18.7 million tax credit financing, and then $2.9 million from the state of Wisconsin, and then some other funding sources. So we're going to give you an update today on where we are in some of those funding areas. A couple exciting updates is that we were successfully listed on the State Register of Historic Places, and the national review is happening right now. So that took place with the State Review Board on May 15th, which is, as you know, really critical to those historic tax credits, which is part of our funding stack. We also had visits from Governor Evers, as well as the Secretary of Tourism, Sayers, and Mayor Johnson, all within the last few weeks. Governor Evers had come to the Domes to tour and learn more about the Domes Reimagined project as part of a commitment through the Department of Administration, their non-state grant program. They committed $2 million. So that goes into that $2.9 million other funding category. So we still have $900,000 left to raise in that area, but that was a really great push forward in terms of those funds. And on the fundraising campaign, so we are on track. I'm actually going to provide numbers today, so that's exciting, and some additional updates. So as a reminder, that fundraising goal for Phase 1A is $17.1 million, and we are currently at 9.2. So that jumped up quite a bit from last week's presentation, and yes.
5 days? $1 million in 5 days. So that means by the time we meet in July, I mean, you're going to have it done. You're going to have it done. That's a big jump.
Yes. Well, it is from the end of March. So from the end of March, when that report was submitted, to today, yes, we have raised over $1 million. We are now at 54% of our goal for private philanthropy for Phase 1A. I also have a couple exciting announcements in that we've had some really important lead gifts that have come in, and those are attached to naming opportunities. So we had lead gifts from the We Energies Foundation, which will be the We Energies Foundation lobby. And then also a lead gift from Herb Cole Philanthropies. So we will now have the Herb Cole Little Sprouts Dome as part of our recognition of these really significant contributions that have come in. In addition, Lined Eline made a lead gift to the campaign as well. So I know these are some typical household names in Milwaukee philanthropy, and it's really great to see them coming in and making a commitment at an early stage to this campaign.
Great.
So just very quickly, in terms of where we are with the construction project, I know this is a very small type, so you can't really read that, but just wanted to show you that we, in 2026, those are all of the announcements I had just made. It kind of shows that we're on track to break ground in 2027. So as you might remember, as part of our development agreement, we would break ground no earlier than April of 2027, no later than December of 2028. But it is our intention to break ground in 2027 based on our ability to secure the rest of the funds needed for that initial phase, Phase 1A. And that is it, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and congratulations on your meeting these fundraising goals at this time. Members of the committee. Either? Okay, you're both guys. All right. Other members? Congratulations. So just going over this, so you're going to break ground with one dome and the Little Sprouts, and then there's going to be potential pause depending on how the fundraising goes, correct? Or you have to have the money before you start Phase 2 or Phase 1, 1A or 1B, correct?
Correct. So, well, we will have, there's 2 years between when we would start Phase 1A and we would break ground for Phase 1B. And it is our intention that we would pause to just make sure that the glazing system that we're putting in place is performing as expected. Phase 1A won't quite take 2 years, but it is our intention to put in some padding there just so we can make sure that things are performing. And if there's any adjustments that need to happen, we would make that then moving forward with Phase 1B and 1C. To answer your question about the funding piece of it, so yes, we would we would not break ground until we had secured the required funding for Phase 1B, and the same for Phase 1C. A lot of that, as you know, there is the total philanthropy goal is $35 million, but a lot of that is front-loaded into that very initial phase, Phase 1A, $17.1 million. And the reason why is Phase 1A is more expensive than the other phases because it includes a lot of the revenue-generating activities that are part of the plan. That includes, the Little Sprouts Dome is going to be very successful and very popular. Will obviously drive admissions revenue as well as membership revenue. But that also includes the cafe and the expanded gift shop and the new lobby are all part of that very initial phase, so it's more costly than the remaining two. So we do not anticipate a challenge with being able to secure the rest of philanthropy required for those two subsequent phases.
What's the guarantee that the glazing's going to work?
Well, so we did do a mock-up, as you might remember, on the Desert Dome. We replaced, I believe, 14 panes of glass, and that system has been running for 3 years and has performed as anticipated. So we do know that it can be successful. For us, we just want to make sure we have the very best system in place. So we actually had created a glazing task force that's made up of experts in the glazing industry, and they have been examining and testing and looking at different alternatives. We're also looking at hiring an external agent that would oversee that side of the project. As you can imagine, replacing those 6,500 panes of glass is a huge portion of the expense with this project. So we want to make sure that we're absolutely getting the best results possible. And that's performance on a couple different areas. And that includes, we need to stop the water infiltration, which is the most critical piece of it. But that new glazing system will also result in significant energy reduction. And so we want to make sure the glass that we're choosing, the seals that we're choosing, and the new technologies all will support those two outcomes.
One number I remember from previous reports was that we lose 80% of our energy through the current pane system. How much will that be reduced? How energy efficient are we going to do with this new glazing window system?
Well, actually, Grafe Engineering is right now doing an energy modeling study for us, and it's actually due this week. So I will have a more definitive answer for you the next time that we present. However, the engineers and architects anticipate a 50% reduction in energy usage based on the new mechanical systems as well as the new glazing system.
Wow. Great. Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chairman Wasserman. Thank you for the report. You talked about how the Little Sprouts Dome and the cafe and a lot of the programming are really going to be generating revenues. So I'm just curious, in your discussions with donors, potential donors, not only in Milwaukee County, but throughout the state, how is that economic development philosophy sort of resonating with folks?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And we do see this project as not just, all of the things that we care about with the domes, that they're iconic and beautiful and a place of peace and wellness, but they are also an important economic driver. And that is an economic driver for the south side of Milwaukee, certainly, but for the entire state. So we know that 40% of our admissions are coming from outside of Milwaukee County. We also know that the average drive of those guests is 200 miles. So people are traveling 200 miles to come to the domes and visit them. we are an incredible economic driver for the state of Wisconsin, which is, part of the reason why the State Building Commission chose our project and actually awarded us the largest amount possible, $2 million, was because they could see that this was a economic benefit for the entire state.
Well done, and thank you.
Thank you very much for your response, and good question, Supervisor O'Connor, of course. Other questions from committee members?
Can I do one shameless plug?
Absolutely.
Penelope, the corpse flower, is anticipated to bloom this week. And I know, Mr. Chairman, that is one of your favorite things at the Domes. So I wanted to share that. And I did want to thank Krista for her partnership. She also has some of her team members here, as well as the Alexander Group that we've been working with. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks for pointing that out. Who's here in attendance that you'd like to point out from your?
Absolutely. So we have John Beck from the Alexander Company, who is a critical part of our project team. Therese Hansen from TKWA. So she's the lead architect for this project, and truly, this is much of our plan, and everything we've been able to achieve is because of those two individuals. I also would like to point out just a few of my team members who are here. Laura Amir is our Chief Development Officer. Kathy Cortez is our Advancement Director. And then the treasurer of our board, Andy Holman, is also here. And I'm going to turn around and make sure nobody else snuck in while I was presenting. Wonderful.
Thank you very much for presenting your board. It's not just the leader, it's really everybody else. It's really a team that gets things done. So thank you all for doing the work that you're doing for our community. And as for that corpse flower, I'm very happy you brought that up. When that blooms, if you could send a message, I'll make sure that all my other committee members and the supervisors know about this. It's a unique happening, and we should definitely know about it and have the chance to partake in the olfactory delights that this plant has.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and it's amazing right now. So it's grown twice its size in just the last week. So you guys might know, a corpse flower is truly, one of the most just outrageous natural occurrences in the world. And it is already quite large, and it looks like it's from out of this world. So I certainly would say stop by sooner and take a look at it today. It's in the Tropical Dome. But when it does bloom, I'll certainly send a message out. You only have, it's between 12 and 24 hours when it officially blooms for you to come and smell the bad smell.
Well, we are looking forward to the odor, and Jetty and my LA's in the back right there, so send it to me, and we'll send it out right away to all committee members so they can rush over there and get a chance to partake. All right, thank you very much for your presentation. Anybody else on that, comments? Oh, Supervisor Vincent, thank you very much, Supervisor O'Connor. Supervisor Vincent, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know why, but my hand kept going down. I just want to, first of all, thank the Domes Alliance. Your report, for one, is very comprehensive. As a supervisor, I do want to share these updates with my constituents. So I was hopeful you could share that slideshow or your PowerPoint with us, so we have it, and possibly even just some, like that timeline that you had, I think would be really good to put in our newsletters that we send out, just to continue to update people. For one, I think it will generate interest in people wanting to come and see the domes. But I also just want to comment as an educator that I think the what did you call it? The Sprouts, Little Sprouts exhibit, to me seems like it's going to be like a Betty Brinn of gardening, and I think that's just outstanding. I happen to serve on the committee for the Greendale Children's Garden, and I would love to see us get involved with working with you. I'm not speaking on behalf of our whole board right now, but I would like to connect you with our garden, because I think it would be nice to, this is going to be a pun intended, to branch out and to work with other possible gardens around Milwaukee County. But I just want to thank you. You and your staff have been just so visible and so out there when we've had our public hearings, and when we've also, well, one of them was at the Domes, but when I've done my town halls, and I'm assuming you're doing this at other town halls, you have shown presence there. And it's just a really great way to continue to engage the residents of Milwaukee County. So I do want to thank you for that. Super excited for this, these next steps that are coming. And the timeline that you put out just really gives a nice visual. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Vincent. The file is already available to you at any time. You can just go into Click, and it's available for your usage. Other committee members? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation, and we're looking forward to the notification about the corpse flower.
Thank you very much.
Great. And now we are with tremendous excitement and great desire, we're ready for the announcement of the last item.
Item 7, e-comments submitted to the Committee on Parks and Culture via the County Legislative Information Center Click.
Are there any e-comments? Supervisor O'Connor, Vice Chair.
Yes, Chairman Wasserman, there are 2 e-comments that are in support of the first agenda item, Resolution 26500, the Sheridan Bluffs project. It appears to be the 2 commenters who also submitted the blue cards, I believe, so they are in support of funding that project.
Thank you very much. With that in mind, we are going to be standing in adjournment until July 14th, 2026 at 9 a.m. This is going down as one of the quickest Parks meetings we've had in a long time.
Oh, man, I was put for like 3 hours.
So with that then, all in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are officially adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, for your presentations.